Thank you, Daniel. That was beautiful as usual. I cannot believe that was 20 years ago. Boy, that was even before I was at the center. Anyway, thank you for being with us, Daniel. We really, really appreciate it. And so, this first, in January, we talked about the intellectual principles, about the basics of the science of mind. And I know that I heard from some of you, you really enjoyed doing that. And then now, and that's why we always teach foundations right after that, so you can go to a more in-depth discussion and determination of the principles and practices which you can use in your life. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later as my message goes on. But so now we're moving on. So now we're experiencing the divine, how we can feel it in our lives and how we can experience in our daily part of it. We're moving from the head to the heart and how we're moving our feet and using these principles of the science of mind. And it's a powerful place for us to be. And this talk title is called One Mind, Infinite Connections. Or you could say One Divine, Infinite Expressions. So John, could you give me my first slide, please? This is what Ernest Holmes said. And to preface this, in 1927, they were about to publish the first Science of Mind magazine. And they came to Dr. Holmes and said, Dr. Holmes, could you please write down what it is that we believe in? And so, story goes, he took 10 or 15 minutes and he gave them 11 statements. Sometimes we publish 7, sometimes we publish 9, and sometimes we publish 11. And this is one of them. And it says, we believe in the unity of all life. And the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. So this is what it's about, one divine, multiple unique aspects of life that are living within the divine. That's what we talk about here every Sunday, that you actually do live this divine life. And what we've tried to do, we've listened to Dr. Holmes, and he told us that we would have an evolution of consciousness. And as a movement, we've tried to figure out, well, since we're now evolving our consciousness, where are we? And we create some verbiage around that on who we are, and we like to call it the vision of the global heart. And it goes like this. He says, this vision is a world that works for everyone, as we keep saying, where poverty, hunger, disenfranchisement, and war just no longer prevail. But these things are replaced by forgiveness, compassion, nonviolence, respect, appreciation of beauty, and the generous sharing of resources. Those is what our vision is what will be the new norm. So as we talk about this, the first concept I want to talk about is that we are a God-centered spiritual community open to the impulse and guidance of spirit. And so we get this from all of our teachings. And once again, Dr. Holmes viewed himself as a great synthesizer. He viewed himself and talked many times about this golden thread of truth that's weaved its way through all the different spiritual and philosophical traditions. And not one tradition has all the answers. But if you listen to the different parts of the thread that were weaved by different philosophies, you come up with what he thought was a better answer. And we embrace that philosophy here. And from the teachings of Jesus, we get, it is done unto you as you believe. We talked last week from Isaiah, it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Well, we have this divine birthright that we come to the planet and we need to add nothing to it. And from the ancient Hindus, we have this consciousness is the ground of all being, that everything is about consciousness. And from the Buddhist tradition, we listen to the words of compassion. And compassion means to go sit with another, not to go give them advice or to fix them. Just to sit with another and let them know that you are connected with them also. is they are connected with you, because you're both beautiful aspects of the divine. And in the Eastern traditions, there's a saying that says, in all things, listen to the rhythm of the Tao. It's not all about head-based stuff. It's about listening to the rhythm of life and being in flow with the rhythm of life and being all things to all people. And in the Bible, it hits again on, you are your brothers and sisters' keeper. So we see this oneness in all things and in all traditions. And John, if you could give me my second Ernest Holmes slide. It goes like this. We are to view ourselves each in the other and behold God in all. Each in each other and behold God in all. And that's a powerful statement that we're going to look at everyone we come in contact with and know that there's this beautiful divine inspiration of God just like we are. He goes on to say, when we realize love is a great harmony, then we shall sing the praise of God. My mentor, John Waterhouse, taught me this about love. And he would say this in front of many people. He said, what I finally realized about love is the glue that holds everything together. It's not the logic doesn't hold everything together. It's the love of God, the love of the divine, the love of each other that holds us all together. So we have these great teachings, and the science of mind philosophy came from basically mystical teachings from both the Eastern and the Western traditions. And John, could I get my third slide, please? And Ernest Holmes says, in moments of deepest realization, the great mystics have sensed that one life flows through all, and that all are some part of that life. And the mystics absolutely said that. Jesus would say, I and the Father are one. And one of my famous or fabulous teachings I'm so familiar with comes from one of the oldest scriptures, 3,000 years old, the first scripture from the Hindus called the Rigveda. And it goes like this. It's a great analogy I like to use. It goes, two birds, beautiful of wing, friends and comrades, cling to a common tree. One eats the sweet fruit, and the other regards him and eats not. So what that is saying, it's very similar to the old Greek tradition of what is true, is it being or becoming? And so that bird that doesn't eat is that spirit part of inside of you that knows the truth of who he is or she is without having to experience the physical form. And the birds that's flitting around, eating the different seeds, it's just absolutely us going through this life experience, trying different things, finding our way, losing our way. But inside of us is still that beautiful bird image that knows the truth, knows we are divine, and is accepting of that and gentle about that all the time. So there is that within us that knows that truth, that's calm and serene, like the calm and serene bird. And there's those of us, and there's that part of us that does the business and activity of life. In all of our personality, some of us are good at music. I would not be one of those. Some of us are good at dancing. I would not be one of those. But we all have this beautiful, unique aspect that we're driven to do in our lives. And that's what these ancient teachings are telling us. From the book of Matthew, it says, thou shalt love God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. And it goes on to say, this is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So what we teach here is we teach here and express with you guys here and listen to what you guys hear, because we teach here what shows up for us, because this beautiful community shows up as 50 to 200 people bringing their own unique aspect of the divine to us every day. And it's a powerful place for us to be and for us to teach from. And so, as I said, I wanted to share with you, we started our foundations class. And this is my favorite class. So we teach what Ernest Holmes taught us. And so each week we teach a spiritual principle. And they're powerful spiritual principles. And I'll just tell you what they are right now, because it's really powerful, because I've taken this class 15 or 20 different times. And I'm moved and I'm changed by it each time that I take it. So what do we talk about in each of the 10 weeks? The spiritual principles. We talk about God. We talk about the creative process. We talk about grace. We talk about wholeness. We talk about attraction. We talk about living in the flow. We talk about oneness. We talk about immortality. And we talk about joy. Powerful, powerful place for us to be. So these are the spiritual principles that we talk about. And there's experiential experiences to bring those out in us each and every week. And I'm blessed to have two very, very strong and very dedicated assistants to help me with that. And that's Marjorie Ray and Tina Carson. But these spiritual experiences, as I said, were not exclusive. They're open to all people, no matter what spiritual tradition they are. And that was Dr. Holmes's first idea. He didn't want to form a religion, but those that were studying under him said, Dr. Holmes, we really need to get the message out and get this great philosophy distributed higher and to more people. But we need to understand this basic principle and to get back to our divinity. And John, could you give me my next slide, please? Once again, this is from Ernest Holmes. All four are from Ernest Holmes because they were so powerful for me today to share with you. Within this infinite mind, each individual exists. Within this infinite mind, or in this divine, we each exist. We are not separated from life, neither is it separated from us, but we are separate entities in it, individualized centers of God consciousness. And so, as I said Thursday, we went through a powerful, powerful meditation that Marjorie Ray took us through, and I want to share that and experience it with you guys today. So I want you to get to a place where you're comfortable. Absolutely just go within and know the power and the presence of the one, of God, or of love, or life, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, is with you at this very moment. And I want you to think back. Think back on a time when you experienced God or the divine or spirit in your life, without doubt, with power or with compassion or with passion. And just go back and live that experience. And I want you to feel right now how that experience was, that you really realized that God or spirit was in your life, was in your very being. And how did that feel for you? And all of you are going to have a different experience of that. And so I just want us to just stay in the silence for a little while, maybe a moment, and experience that. And so when you're ready, slowly bring your consciousness back to the room. And I hope that was a beautiful and poignant and moving experience for you. I know it was for us on Thursday. And, that experience of the divine when we're totally in there is one of the best parts of life that I can ever think of. And the other experience I wanted to share with you was how Tina Carson led us into a beautiful meditation that allowed us to really appreciate the power of journaling in our lives. And Tina is a very strong person, and she's really speaks her mind very succinctly. And what she told us that was so moving for me, she says, what I've realized with this teaching, and I wholeheartedly agree with what she said, was you have to absolutely make it personal. You have to do what works for you. So with this teaching, we have this concept that there is one divine and many connections. As the ancient Hindus said, consciousness is the ground of all being. As the Buddhists have taught us, we can be compassionate and sit with one another. As the Taoists have taught us, there's times for us to sit and listen to the rhythm of the Tao. And we are experiencing the many paths of the divine each and every day. Because we're each unique, we're each beautiful, and no matter what the outside world is telling you, there comes a time when it's time to go celebrate that beautiful and unique aspect of the divine that you are. To experience, as the Hindus tell us, the one manifest as the many, and you're one of those many, and you're perfect just the way you are. You bring joy, you bring love, and you bring whatever is your special sense or trait, just the way you are, absolutely just the way you are. And, in the Bible it says, from Isaiah, I said this last week, it says, in my Father's kingdom there are many mansions. So there are many faith traditions. I loved what Anne-Marie brought last week. So with Anne-Marie, you have a perfect example of how to find your path, follow your bliss. And so she followed her bliss into the teachings of Tai Chi, into some of the energy work of Reiki, but always, Anne-Marie brings with her the tactile part, the touching part. I know I loved that last week. But she also brings something else that's so extremely special. She is the epitome of joy, and I thank her for doing that. So understand who you are. Don't sell yourself short, and know that you are blessed, and by divine birthright, you are this individual aspect of the divine that was absolutely created perfectly for your life experience. And all we have to do is get our mistaken beliefs out of the way, and then we can truly experience the life of the divine as it was meant to be, the life of compassion, the life of joy, the life of abundance, and the life of bliss. This is our role in life, and that's what we're going to continue to keep talking about as this year goes forward. God bless you, and I love you.